Dead Rising 3 is a technically flawed masterpiece. Compared to the first two games in the series, Dead Rising 3 is much more of an open world sandbox game. You play in a fictional rendition of Los Angeles called Los Perdidos. The city is split into 4 districts connected by large freeways and tunnels. There are tons of side quests and missions that will keep you well distracted from rushing through to the end. The follow-up to the previous installment's biggest selling point is it has swarms of undead corpses, and by swarms I mean hundreds and hundreds of zombies on screen at once. It's an amazing technical accomplishment that, according to Capcom, it has 3 times the amount that could be rendered in Dead Rising 2. The story takes place about a decade after the second game. You join up with survivors of yet another major zombie outbreak and are trying to find parts to repair a plane to escape before Los Perdidos is nuked by the military. You play as Nick Ramos, a mechanic in the wrong place at the wrong time. One great improvement are the controls. Nick is much faster and more agile than the other game's previous protagonists. He can sprint and scale walls and fences and just seems more responsive. He is also able to pick up objects whilst running. There were occasions when I went to pick up an item and he kept grabbing the one next to it. It was annoying, but nothing too major and didn't happen too often. Now, customization and combo weapons. This is the bread and butter of the game. You can customize Nick in all manner of outfits, from Skeletor masks
What the hell is this?
to mankinis and shark suits. As like in Dead Rising 2, you can combine weapons by finding blueprints littered around the world, which are usually conveniently placed next to the items you need to create them. But rather than having to find workbench rooms like in Dead Rising 2, you can combine items on the fly at the touch of a button. For example, if you combine a speaker and a traffic cone, you end up with a sort of bass shockwave blaster, which will blow zombies and cars away with hilarious results. And it's violent, incredibly violent. Horror and gore fans will have the time of their lives, dispatching zombies in all manner of gory and hilarious wacky ways. Vehicles play a much bigger part this time, and they're also customisable. And doing so not only helps you in travelling around the city, they're also fantastic zombie killing machines. Take the roller hog for example, which you make by combining a sports bike and a steamroller, which turns into a motorbike steamroller with spikes and flamethrowers. There are dozens of vehicles to find and experiment with. The undead will cling and hang onto the side of your vehicle, which dramatically affects its handling. As with previous Dead Rising titles, it's a humorous game in which the funniest and silliest stuff usually comes from roaming around and doing your own thing. The story is rather generic and weak, but it goes for a more dark, gritty realism. There's a cast of cliched characters in the story, which are funny, but forgettable.
Holy shit.
Dead Rising's hordes of zombies are incredibly impressive on a technical level, but it's frequently at the cost of frame rate drops when there's a lot happening on the screen. The overall graphics presentation leaves a lot to be desired. Textures can be flat and muddy looking, and the 720p resolution is a real shame, as jaggy graphics are apparent when compared to other full 1080p games, such as Forza 5 or Rise Son of Rome. The developers stated they had to drop the resolution in order to accommodate the amount of zombies on the screen. Some of the effects are distinctly next gen though, such as great looking explosions and glass that reflects objects and characters. One feature I was really impressed with though was the use of smart glass. If you connect up a smartphone or tablet, you can receive phone calls from within the game directly to your device. You can also use the map to order in airstrikes and artillery, which is great if you have a buddy over and he or she wants to give you a hand. The whole story is also playable in co-op multiplayer, with vehicles having a second seat for your friend when driving around. Also, if you have a combo vehicle, the second player can usually man a gun turret of some kind. Overall, Dead Rising 3 is a great sequel. It preserves the horror, gore and humour of the previous games, but places it in a new open world environment that encourages experimentation and exploration.